I would like to welcome everyone to Cathy Chat. As you can see, the fantastic lady I have with me today, you may know her, you may not know her, but by the end of Cathy Chat, you are going to know lots and lots about the incredible Sally Allen. How are you today, my friend?
I'm fine, thank you, Kathy. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak on your program. I am so excited to be here.
Well, I love the fact that you're here, and we have met in a coaching class by the one and only Missy Day. And for that, I will be forever grateful because I had exciting news from you that you are now an author. And I had an exciting package because my copy of your dynamic book came in the mail this week, and I'm not going to read it until after our chat today. So tell me what's going on in the life of Sally Allen.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a whirlwind getting my book published, and then I'm currently planning my book launch, so it's pretty exciting. But uh, today, I'm really thankful you invited me to speak today because one of the things I want to speak about my book is my why I wrote my book. I want my audience to know why, and I want you to know why before you read the book. I'm glad you didn't read it.
Uh-uh.
You know, and my why is first and foremost, I want to be able to help people. And I want to help them live resilient lives through a purpose driven life, right? I
Oh,
want
yes.
them when you finish reading the book, you understand that if you have a mission and you have a purpose vision life, you'll be living, not just surviving. And my hope is that when you come away, you'll be like, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it. Because this is funny, but I looked up the name "If I Can Do It, You Can Do It," but it was taken. I'm just glad it was taken because I really like my name now. But that is my hope that people will come away with if she can do it, I can do it because I'm not brave. I just do brave things despite all the fears.
Well, quite frankly, to me, from what I have learned with and from you in Missy's coaching class, I actually think that a lot of your personality leads, my friend, with bravery.
Thank you, Kathy. You were kind. You're kind. I wrote in my book. Part of my book was that that the last chapter I wrote that I do things despite of my fears, and I think that's how we have to live our lives. We can't live in fear, and we can't worry about what people think, and we can't worry, um, about what will happen. We just have to press on and move forward in order to achieve what we're trying to accomplish.
That's beautiful. And for those of you listening with us today, I have Sally Allen, author of Triumph Over Fear and Failure. I always do this backwards. Triumph Over Failure and Fear,
Yeah.
Finding Your Resilience in the Face of Adversity. I want everyone to know about this because you lead in this book, Triumph Over Failure and Fear. And that's the part that's hard for me because you are the opposite of fear and failure, in my opinion. And that's why it's always so hard for me to get those words out because you, for me, from being in the coaching class with you, you are the person everybody in the room always wants to be.
Huh. I, what I have to say about that is I like the saying is that I don't want to be like anyone else, and I don't think anyone should. We all strive to be better versions of ourselves daily, right? And in
Yes.
order to be better versions of ourselves, we have to take control of our lives, and we can't let people drive what we do, and we can't let people orchestrate our lives. We just have to do what makes us happy, and that's what makes us better versions of ourselves.
That is so beautiful. And again, you're a perfect example of that. Can you tell us a little bit about what your life was like before you became an author?
Oh my gosh, where do I start? um, let's hone in on the focus of why I became an author.
Okay.
I as you know, and when you read my book, you'll see I've had a life that led me to where I am today, and I wouldn't change that for anything because I realized if I hadn't gone through everything that I did, I wouldn't have been the person I am today.
Yeah.
And when I moved to Las Vegas probably 12 years ago, and
Oh,
I
wow.
was networking. Yeah, I was networking and talking to people. and somebody introduced me, and I'm telling you, all roads lead to Missy Day.
I agree with that.
Somebody introduced me to Misty Day, and I started talking to her. And she said to me, Sally, would you come and speak at this like-minded lunch? And she had no idea what I was going to say. And she said, just come share your story. And that's what we do at this lunch. And I went there, and I did a quick summary of my story. I had 15 minutes, and after I shared it, I looked around the room, and I just couldn't believe everyone had shock looks on their faces. Some of them were crying, and they were like, is this the first time you're sharing your story like this? And I said, yeah. And they're like, why isn't this out there? Why aren't you sharing it? And for me, my story is normal because, culture and tradition dictates how we feel. And for me, that was just normal. It was my life. I lived it. So what? So again, Missy invited me to speak at a like-minded lunch, which I did, and people started encouraging me, Sally, you should write a book. The story needs to be out there, and it needs to be helping people, and you can't be in 100 places at the same time. And that's and that's what drove me to write my story, so people can read it and they can have hope, and they can say, wow, if little Sally can do this, surely I can.
Isn't it a beautiful thing to realize the reach that you're having and to be able to realize that because of you, other people are going to feel that they too can share their lives with others. And I really that's a magnificent place to be. How actually can people find your book or find you? How do we connect with you?
So you can connect with me on my website. That's scrolling down there, sallyallencoaching.com. You can find my book on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes and Noble. And there is my publisher, which is Hugo House, Hugo Hugo House. You can find my book on all those platforms.
My
But
goodness.
yeah, but I like what you said. About helping people. My book is about helping people because one of the stories that I wrote in my book was sometimes we live in fear and we think we have to stay there, and we don't realize that we can get out of it. And when we read a story like mine, it's like, well, we really can. We really can break that cycle, and we really can get out of it. And in my book, there are tools. I have tools in my book to help you get out of that vicious cycle.
Well, now that's a beautiful thing. And for our listeners today, and thank you for joining us live, and certainly if you're watching on a replay platform. But for our listeners today, isn't it an awesome thing to think that each of us actually has a story inside of us? And it's up to us and people like you to inspire us to share that story with the world.
It is so true. I hear people say all the time, well, I don't have a story to share, and your story is so horrifying. Like I don't have something like that. And honestly, it doesn't have to be because they're different audiences and they need to hear different things. People need to hear our stories. So it really doesn't matter. And I have to tell you, there was one story in my book that I hadn't shared before with anyone. And only my audience who will read my book will hear that story. And once I shared it and a couple of people read it, they pinged me and they were like, Sally, I went through the same thing. They just couldn't believe I shared it openly, and they were reaching out. Like, I went through the same thing, and I did not share for the same reason you didn't share, because there was shame in it, and there was fear in it, and there was how would people take this story. So if you want to find out more about that, you have to jump into the book.
That's a very good.
Little
That's a very good
cliffhangers here
carrot.
and there. Yeah,
Dangle that carrot. Yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
So I know that you mentioned earlier that you're having a book launch. That is like exciting times a million. I know that this might be heard later after your launch, but what does it take to actually decide I'm going to do a book signing, I'm going to do a book launch? What does that feel like as an author, especially a brand new one?
It's if I were to speak candidly and openly, it's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, you've already been a speaker, so that's pretty awesome. You've got it
No,
halfway there.
yeah, but it's terrifying on so many levels. And I have a lot of supporter and friends, but I'm just like, what if I'm sitting there and nobody shows up? terrified. Um, and,
I'm sure that'll never happen.
yeah, but these are the things I think about. I'm sitting there and nobody shows up, and here am I on Facebook Live and everything. But I have to get my friends there lined up.
That's right. And get your friends there. They'll show up every time.
Yeah, but but yeah, it's it's terrifying accepting. Sometimes it's terrifying accepting successes because it's like, what next? So here am I finding my book and doing this, and the question to me is like, what next? And I'll go again. I'm gonna put Missy Day on spot again. She's my coach, and she also put this question in my head. So what next? And that's the terrifying prospect of it. Like I want to get through all of this and then figure out what next is. So that's what keeps me awake at night.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you'll find rest because one of the phrases that has inspired me over the years is
Mm.
so hard that someday your signature will be called an autograph.
Ah, that
And
is
that to me,
beautiful.
my friend, is where you are now. Work so hard that someday your signature will be called an autograph. And when I saw that, I was like, huh, there you go. And that has been a big inspiration to me. And that's why I carry, thanks to Angela Kramer, actually blessed me with gold Sharpies.
Yeah.
And she knows I love gold, go figure. And so when my first book came out, she blessed me with a packet of gold Sharpies with which to do my autograph. And I never have forgotten that because it was like, OMG, I'm an author. And you kind of have to wrap your head around that and everything that goes with it. And so I'm thrilled for you because you're there. This is it. This is completely it. And I'm instantly thinking for you with your fantastic cover that your Sharpie could be the fuchsia color because it's so fabulous, or even the gray. You've got a lot of choices. Your book cover, by the way, is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I want to give credit to my friend Rhonda for doing that. She is an excellent designer. And believe it or not, she actually did the book cover in just a few hours. She was so inspired by my story that she was able to put the book cover together in just a few hours. It was amazing.
Oh
She's
my gosh.
excellent. Yeah,
Rhonda.
excellent.
Rhonda is the one, Rhonda Taylor.
Rhonda Taylor, yes, from Heartworks Publishing. Yes.
There we go. Oh my gosh. And that is so exciting because I have gotten to meet Rhonda also in Missy Day's coaching classes. And I think the world needs to meet Missy Day. What do you think?
I think so too. Yes.
If
I
there's
think the
anybody
world
left
needs
in the
to
world that
meet.
doesn't know her, then
I just think the world needs to meet Missy Day. Missy was just so instrumental. I need to put this out there. Missy was instrumental to me writing my book. She kept
wow.
encouraging me and saying, Sally, you have a story and you have a powerful story and you need to put that story out there. And that's why she keeps taking me out of my comfort zone, first of all, to always what's your story and events to speak because she kept insisting, you have to get your story. People need to hear it because it will help them. The purpose, it will help them.
That is so beautiful. I am watching your website scroll across our banner here, and it is www.sallyallencoaching.com. You have been a coach for a long time.
It's about 4 years,
Okay.
about 4 or 5 years. Yes,
And who
yes.
do you coach? What is your coaching? Is it life coaching, business coaching? What is your specific niche?
So I'm glad you asked that question because over the years, my coaching has evolved. And it's evolved into after I finish my book or in the middle of my book, I realized that my coaching will be resilience coaching. So it's a broad
Wow.
spectrum. Yeah, it's a resilience coaching because my book is all about resiliency. And I figure like, what do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to do with this coaching? And I realized that's what I want to do. I feel like I live a resilient life despite what I've been through, and I want to help people see the light and see the light at the end of the tunnel and live that resilient life. I was on with a coaching client on Friday, and she's like, Sally, you don't understand. Coaching is not allowed in my culture. It's frowned upon. She said, life coaching is not allowed. And she said, I've been giving my business card to all the family members because you're just unpeeling all these layers in my head. And you're just helping me to have better relationships with my family, my job, and people around me through being resilient as a person, mentally and
Wow.
physically. She said, just being resilient as a person is helping her.
That is so awesome. And all of those credentials, all those accolades mean so much when they come from a friend, when they come from a client, when they come from a family member. And it just feels so great to be lifted up. And I know there's a lot of people in your world right now who are lifting you up, Miss Sally Allen.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for bringing that up because there are a lot of people. I want to thank like my friends and my family and Missy and you, Cathy, for just giving me these opportunities again to step out of my comfort zone. We know nothing grows in comfort zone. So yeah, I just want to be able and all my Facebook people who's been my social media friends who've been supportive. They've been so supportive. The overflow of support is very overwhelming to me because it was so unexpected. Especially sharing my story. I'm like, what will people think about me? And then the overflow of support and the notes, people are pinging me as they're reading my book in the middle of it and the end of it, they're just pinging me, wow, Sally, we just can't believe this is your story and you are who you are today. So I am so grateful and I'm so thankful because, you know, putting your life out there is not easy, right?
Oh,
It's
no.
like a friend told me putting a piece of your soul out there for people to pick apart and the social media could be very vicious. So I'm so grateful and thankful for all my supporters. I want to thank everyone. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
That is beautiful. Is there anything that you haven't shared yet with our listeners that you would like to tell them now without giving away the entire gist of your book?
Huh. Um, that's these things about these candid chat. It makes you think, right? Let's see. Um, without giving it away, at the back of my book, in the last chapter, there is a chapter called "Take Your Power Back," and there's tools back there, right? There's tools back there to help whoever is reading this book. And if you feel like you're struggling with fear or you're struggling with resiliency, there's tools back there to help you to navigate that process to live a resilient life. Also, as you know now, I'm the resilient coach, and there's my contact in the back of my book. I'm learning from the best. Okay, please feel free to go to that contact page and reach out to me because look, if you're looking for a life coach, you're looking for a resilience coach, I'm your gal right here.
That is so perfect. And again, for those of you listening with us today, I have the incredible Sally Allen, one of the newest authors on the planet. And her book is now available on Amazon and many other locations. Triumph Over Failure and Fear, Finding Your Resilience in the Face of Adversity. And to be able to reach Sally, it's www.sallyallencoaching.com. This is so exciting. I know your book launch is actually going to be amazing. And with the friends and the large circle that you have achieved, I hope somebody's going to take videos, Facebook Lives, things like that. So those of us who do not live in the Nevada area where you are will be able to actually share in your joy with you.
Thank you so much, Cathy. Thank you so much for having me on here. I so appreciate it.
Fantastic. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, I just want to leave with this this little something is that resiliency is making hard choices and living through the consequences. And we find our resiliency when we find our purpose. And purpose brings us hope because without hope, we are nothing. And today, my hope is that whatever it is, if you're listening and whatever it is you are going through, know that if I can do it, you can do it. And if you want to know what it is and you want to learn more, get my book.
That
Thank you
sounds like a
again
great idea.
for tuning in and listening. And Cathy, I love you to pieces. Thank you so much for having me here.
I'm thrilled that you could join us today, my friend, on Cathy Chat. And the world needs to hear your message. And now they've got an opportunity and a platform to do that. So thank you all for joining us today. And thank you so much, Sally Allen. And congratulations from the bottom of my heart. You have now literally achieved triumph over failure and fear.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye, everyone.